This is one of those sections where many students just guess. And if you're watching this video, I can assume that when it comes to simple, compound, and complex sentences, you take a 33.3% chance and just guess an answer. And the only way that's going to change is if you do what you're doing right now, and you sit down and you decide today's the day where I learn the rules and the difference between the three so that I can get those marks in future. So stop guessing and start knowing. Learn what you need to know now so that no matter what sentence gets thrown your way, you will get it correct. This section should be guaranteed marks. When you see simple, compound, complex in your test, you should know it's easy marks. That's the probability of getting asked simple, compound, and complex in your language test. I just made that number up, but I'm pretty sure reality is close to that because we love asking it. So let's break them down. Well, a simple sentence has only one finite verb and it has one main clause. One main idea that can stand on its own and make sense. A compound sentence has two or more finite verbs and at least two main clauses. Two groups of words that can stand on their own and make sense joined together. A complex sentence, again, two or more finite verbs. There has to be at least one main clause and there has to be one subordinate clause. Take note that a main clause can also be called an independent clause, and a subordinate clause can be called a dependent clause because it depends on the main clause to make sense. Looking at it simply, that is what we are looking at. Just take note, however, that this main clause here in a complex sentence does not necessarily have to come first. We could put conjunction subordinate clause first and then the main clause. This page is very important. Let's have a look. A simple sentence. If I look at any sentence and I discover that there's only one finite verb, I don't care what else is in the sentence. It's simple. Period. If I look at the sentence and I discover that there are two or more finite verbs, then okay, I'm going to say, right, it's either compound or complex. Now, if it's a compound sentence, it'll have a coordinating conjunction, which means that it'll be joining two main clauses, right? The conjunctions that I've got to look for are fanboys, then and therefore. Now, fanboy is an acronym that stands for and, nor, but, or, yet, so, and then and therefore. So if there are one of those conjunctions in the sentence, and there are two or more finite verbs, I know it's compound. A complex sentence also has two or more finite verbs, but the conjunction in there is subordinating. In other words, if it's not one of those, it must be one of the others, okay, because there are a lot of subordinating conjunctions. But it means that I'm going to find a subordinating clause that begins with a subordinating conjunction. So, because there's so many of them, okay, but if there are one of those conjunctions and there are two or more finite verbs, then I know the sentence is complex. Let's look at some examples. And here I've put on the top right the breakdown. Number one, Dale and Alex visited the zoo on Saturday afternoon. I'll discover that visited is the finite verb. That's only one of them. So therefore it's simple. And I'll discover that this whole thing is the main clause because there's only one finite verb. There's no conjunction here. Number two, Dale and Alex visited the zoo on Saturday afternoon but did not see the penguins. I see but here. Now, but is a fanboys conjunction, not so, which is a coordinating conjunction. So therefore this is a compound sentence. Alright? But if I had to look at it as well, I'd see that there are two main clauses here because Dale and Alex visited the zoo on Saturday afternoon and Dale and Alex did not see the penguins are two ideas that can stand on their own. So there are two main clauses here, joined by a coordinating conjunction, which is a fanboys conjunction, and therefore it's compound. In this one, when Dale and Alex visited the zoo on Saturday afternoon, they saw their English teacher. The main idea that can stand on its own is Dale and Alex saw their English teacher. Right? The fact that when they visited the zoo on Saturday afternoon is relying on the fact that they saw the English teacher. Because I can't walk into a room and say, when Dale and Alex visited the zoo on Saturday afternoon. That's an incomplete sentence. But I can walk into a classroom and say, Dale and Alex saw the English teacher. That makes sense. You get that, right? So here I've got when. And now I think to myself, well, when is not a fanboys conjunction. It must be one of the others. So therefore the sentence is complex. And I hope, guys, that has helped you.